Hey everyone, this is Joseph. I'm a concept artist from Georgia, and today I'll be talking about my project Paris Reborn for conceptcore contest. This is a this is my entry that I did, and I'll be taking you guys through it, how I made it, what my thoughts were, like the ideation process and so on. So yeah, first time making this kind of a video, like recording and explaining how I think and what I do. So it's kind of going to be a bit messy, but bear with me. I'm gonna try my best. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is my original mood board for the project. I had a bunch of references for what I wanted to do and some ideas what I wanted to do, which where I wanted to go in the project. But right in the first minutes, I kind of remembered this building in Paris. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm not gonna butcher it because I don't know French and I don't wanna, you know, just offend French people. So yeah, this building, I'm sure every one of you knows what this building is. It's a very famous museum and a very beautiful building. I would say this was built actually during the Paris World Expo, and as per the brief of the contest, I was like, this is a perfect setting to put my ideas into. And I saw this image actually, like when I was scrolling through Wikipedia and like reading about the history of the building, and I was like, damn, this is a grand scale thing, and would be cool to put something in it, you know? So I came up with an idea of turning this building into some kind of an energy hub thing. Wasn't really sure what it was gonna be in the beginning, but I had an idea of like turning this building. I wasn't gonna go with the classical architecture it had. I was gonna transform it, and I knew what I was gonna transform it into, like a more of a brutalist version, cause brutalism is cool and all, and so I had those ideas, took a bunch of pictures from the internet, from the inside, some art deco details of this dome here. It's gorgeous, just the scale of it all, and just gathered around, like roamed around on Pinterest, and just took some other references, of the art deco style. Here, the brutalist stuff. I mean, this isn't brutalist per se, or this one even. It's kind of is, but kind of not also. But I just love the scale, like the sheer massiveness it portrays. I was like, just 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 gonna have it in there for like influence. Took a bunch of more images that I thought were pretty cool architecture wise. Yeah, some mechanical stuff that was I was gonna use in the building. More metal structures here because I really wanted to like capture this stuff as faithfully as I could, as my modeling skills would let me do. So um, yeah, got these images, kind of like gave me good ideas, on what I could have done with the building. So I was kind of like figuring out in my head what I liked and what I didn't like. So I was like gathering a bunch of images here. Yeah, for the core and stuff. These are two of my sketches of the like a floor plan, flooded plan, I guess. In my world, the Paris was flooded, and this building was repurposed to like an energy hub that's gathering water, colliding it with like a hydro collider kind of thingy, and like shooting beams up in the sky and redistributing energy to the districts of Paris. So I really like this thing, this water here with all the stairs and stuff and the walkways. And I kind of like designed this plan. It was too symmetrical, but I don't know, like kind of looked cool, I guess. So had this plan here and also some stuff for the antennas. I'm gonna explain this later, why I chose these kind of antennas. So yeah, here are the first sketches I did. These are very ugly. These are very messy. These were all just for me, so I didn't really think twice of like drawing these. I was like just throwing stuff on the canvas, seeing what would stick. This was utter nonsense, so I just gave up. Did a small, very rough model of the building, and tried some brutalist stuff in the front on the facade, but I didn't really like these kind of like sail concrete kind of stuff. Made the building too heavy, I think, so I kind of abandoned the idea quickly. Then I went through another phase of designing this facade again. Removed the big arches and stuff in the main opening here and just did a big gate that was Art Deco and like Art Nouveau inspired in design. I removed the top dome and kind of wanted to open it up and put the whole structure coming out of the building. And yeah, I went through a few iterations of antennas. I would say, yeah, and wasn't sure what I was gonna do because all of these are pretty symmetrical and I liked them, but I wasn't really sold on them, like any of them. Then I thought I was gonna do something asymmetrical because just kind of like break up the flow of the building. It's so like orderly and just like has a rhythm to it, like pop 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 pop. I was like maybe put something that's not so orderly and like kind of has a different rhythm. And did these two stuff kind of like sloped here and did this thing that's a bit more wider and kind of chunky, but they kind of gave me a good how do I say, a different mindset, I would say, to go in a different direction and not have everything be mirrored from one side to the other. So yeah, I did the model in Blender. Like these are some test shots of the roof. I did the gate here. These are just like what's the tool called? Damn. Line. Oh no, sorry. It's curve. Yeah, the curve tool. I used the curve tool here. Just drew it on a plane and just deformed it with the mesh later on. Did the first design, but this was kind of too big and kind of, I don't know. The struts here were basic, and I thought these panels were gonna be some kind of reflectors or some stuff, and I thought it was gonna give a cool vibe to it. But in my mind, this was too big. Like it was too tall. It was like kind of dwarfing the whole. Like the building didn't feel it was big enough for this. This was the whole thing, not the building. So I kind of gave up on it. Took a bunch of more screenshots and just abandoned it. I did a small interior test, how the dome was gonna look like, all this glass stuff was gonna look like from the inside. I was kind of happy how it was looking, but realized that the orb kind of thingy that I wanted to do, or like the reactor inside, couldn't be this high up because it was kind of like distracting. I wanted to put it lower on the ground to have some kind of like a connection between them. Then I came up with this thing for the asymmetry stuff, smaller, slightly bigger. These like how do I say, pillars that were gonna hold some observation decks around the antenna inside. I did this antenna, but this kind of looked too much like an Eiffel Tower. I was like, oh, I think I should do something more simple, I guess. So that's why I got these references here for the antenna, some real antenna stuff. And I was like, okay, these stuff are cool, like these decks or whatever these are here. And I went with these forms here and also these like cables and hinges and stuff. So yeah, this was the thing. Like this is the whole building is stripped. I'm just showing the core part, like the whole collider system here, but this was the thing I came up with. These pillars here, observation decks, the collider thingy down here, and all the cables coming down. I'm also gonna share the Blender file just in a bit of what I did with the building. Here's more screenshots of the building itself. This was still a work in progress, but I was kind of getting there, like kind of getting the flow of the building kind of right. There was gonna be this entrance here for the water with the turbines and like the propellers and stuff that was gonna come here and then just pump the water and like do the fake science thingies, all that stuff. So yeah, this is like more top shots of the thing, and yeah, got stuff more polished and had more progress on the facade here as well. And I was also kind of like experimenting with the lighting a bit as well, just to kind of see how the building reacted in different lighting conditions. As for the Blender model here, this is the scene. I removed like hit all the backdrop and the Parisian buildings and stuff. This is the building itself I designed. Just took the floor plan on top of this and like mapped out the general shape, and just later I just did everything by my ideas, to say the least. This is the entrance here that I was talking about. I just took these pillar designs here and made them a bit wider and just decreased the height. These are kind of like supporting stuff. So yeah, this is the facade. I did some sketches for the windows here in Photoshop, and ultimately chose this this one. These were also good, but they were kind of a bit too floral, I think, and didn't like. I thought this was a simpler approach and much more streamlined than these two. I guess I could have done all three, but I think they would have been too much and like not necessary from afar for the shot I had in mind. So I just went with like a single design for the building, then took this design and also made it as how do I say, an ornament on the facade and for the railing on top of the roof. As for below here, this is water. I just did some lampposts here, did a bunch of them, like just 2 lampposts, 4 of them and a single one. And yeah, these are some railings and cables going inside and around the building. The structures here, I'm gonna remove the roof quickly. Yeah, if you look inside, this is the whole thing. The collider system here, and then going up to this place here with the second stage, and then this thing going up and like shooting the laser beam. So yeah, this is the 3D model. Let's get back to the rest of this stuff. I just flew around with a camera here and just tried to find a good camera angle. You can see here in PureF that I had some lighting references here and some stuff for scale, but didn't really follow any of these references for lighting. I just wanted to get a feel of how other artists were like doing this stuff, you know, so kind of had something to follow, you know. I picked a few camera angles here, did a test overpaint in Photoshop for a few of them, but I really like these colors here, the pink and blues and stuff. Kind of really complemented the building, I think, with the gold stuff and the bronze stuff, I would say. The blue kind of hue, just blue, was a bit too cold for my taste. I also wanted to do this shot like this, but kind of made the building look too small, I think, so gave up on it quickly. I really like this angle here, kind of showing the building on a 3/4 kind of camera angle. So I experimented a bit more with the lighting here and composition with the Parisian buildings here, but this was too yellow goldish, I think, so it was a bit too harsh. Kind of looked a bit more too post-apocalyptic or something, so I just went back to the gold, just greenish stuff. Didn't like this and went back to the pink blue hues. Then continued stuff in Photoshop, overpainting. I was kind of debating what I should have put here for the foreground elements, maybe a bigger roof slab here, but it was like too much dead space for this something to be here as black and as like as contrasty as this for the building. So I just went with some more rooftops here and just kept the overall camera angle. I was still kind of like not sure even at this stage if this was working, but then I kind of like stick to it and made it work in a sense, you know. And this was the final image. I could show the Photoshop file for this, but it's super messy, I would say. Like a lot of layers, like doing a lot of overpainting, effects, some small tweaks to it. So like for me to show what I did there, I have to be like clicking on like hundreds of layers there, so to like, oh, this is like just this smoke here and then another smoke here. So it's kind of like, yeah, this is the final image. I did submit this to the contest, even though I got some great feedback on this image on TAD Playgrounds actually last week. I'm gonna be applying those before I upload this on ArtStation. But yeah, this is the final image I uploaded on the contest. So I'm showing this one right now. For the second shot, I wanted to do the interior of the building to show the scale and the reactor kind of powering up, because in this image I kind of, how do I say, I kind of blew things up inside a bit, you know, to give that energy feel a bit more grandeur, you know, the blue haze and the lighting coming out of all of the like domes and all the tunnels here. I had to like ramp it up to make it more epic. But for the inside, I wanted to tone things down a bit and make it a bit more like personal, and also kind of like anticipating the action a bit, you know. So I did this screenshot here in Blender for the interior shot, and kind of like a black and white thing. And here then I did some like tests with lighting. I'm sure like there's like very few differences here with the lighting and stuff, because I was just tweaking stuff around. Yeah, I did some overpaint on the black and white just to figure out the values, what I was gonna do, how I was gonna like take the image, put the color back on top. But I figured this was like a too much saturated in yellow, so I knew I was gonna tone this down a bit. Then put some lighting in Blender just to get a feel of what the actual lights were gonna do in the interior. And yeah, rendered the thing and started like overpainting. Didn't do a lot of photo bashing on this one because yeah, most of the model was doing the heavy lifting, you know. And also I just like painted the effects of the electricity in, so that was the most of the work, and also these like haze and clouds and stuff. So yeah, this was the final image for the keyframe that I did. Wanted to convey that like powering up and like getting ready for the thing to start up, you know. So I tried to like put a lot of detail and effort into the electricity, like kind of like ramping up, going. Like I wanted the focus from go. I wanted the focus to go from here to here and to up there, like on the second stage. So it's kind of like taking you on a curve here on this image. So yeah. As for the third image, it was like a prop breakdown I did of the whole Hydro Collider thing. This is the sheet I did. I decided to do both of them because showing just one didn't really make sense, because this whole thing is a system of its own. So I wanted to make sure stuff was readable and also kind of made sense. I know like water is basically used to cool things down, but I don't know, like in this universe it's also an energy source. That's a fake science. So yeah, I just came up with stuff and like went with it, you know. So yeah, this is like a breakdown sheet of like the whole thing. Some small guys, scientists here for scale, and here as well, these guys on the balcony up top. And yeah, these are the three main images I submitted for the contest, and the rest of them are like just added front shot here. I just wanted to show the scale of the building from the front just fully, and some facade details, some sketches here earlier that I showed you guys. a gate design and like a section cut of what's happening inside as well, and the mood board. And yeah, that's basically it for the project, I guess. It took me like around a month from when I heard about the contest to like sitting down and finally submitting it. Um, it was a lot of fun, to be honest. In the beginning, I was very stressed. I was like, I gotta make this the perfect thing. Everything has to make sense. But later I realized I just had to have fun and just go wild a bit, and just not like limit myself and thinking of making something as perfect, because we're all artists and we can't make stuff perfect. We learn all the time through our art. We learn stuff every time we put a brushstroke on a canvas, so it's kind of like an adventure. So I set a goal to just have an adventure and just make something cool for me and for the contest, and to just show off something with scale and with like epic proportions. That was my goal. So I think I achieved that. I'm happy with the results, I would say. And this is like the most in-depth I've gone into a project, to be honest, for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm definitely like doing more challenges, more personal stuff from now on, because this is very, very fun, I would say. Loved all the work all the other people did on the contest. Amazing stuff. It's always so fun to see like how much human creativity and how far it can go. Like we all had the same brief and like the same pretext of like designing our stuff in Paris and coming up with our own world, and people just went wild. So it's always cool seeing other people's takes on a similar subject matter. So yeah, guys, this is my project, and I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of my process, of my thinking, of my ugly sketches. These are, well, yeah. So thank you all for listening. I think it's not too big of a video. I think I managed to speak about everything in a relatively short amount of time, I think. So yeah, thank you all for like listening, sticking around, and see you next time.